Hey, what's up everyone and welcome back to my vlog. And today we'll be discussing about webinars. Have you been attending webinars lately or have you been invited to one? The current pandemic has limited us from face-to-face interactions. Therefore, conferences and seminars have been put to a stop and a lot of businesses and people have resorted to webinars. But what is a webinar? And how do I host a webinar? And how do I make it an effective one? Today we'll be discussing what a webinar is, and I'll give you a few basic tips and tricks on how to conduct it effectively. So tune in! So let me first quickly tell you something about myself. I am Melon and I'm the CEO of the Melrish Studio. You can follow us at www.melrish.com for our corporate work and www.melrishweddings.com for our weddings and engagement. I'm also a filmmaker and a photographer, and I love drawing and reading books during my free time. And I'm also a mom of 2 homeschoolers. I homeschool them. I have shared some videos of why we homeschool them and our homeschooling curriculum. You can also check out those videos later. And I created this channel because as an individual, I'm always seeking to develop myself and I'm always trying to learn new things. And I'm on this journey to self-development and I want you to join in this journey. So that's why I created this channel. And I hope you're enjoying sharing this journey with me to self-development. So today, I am discussing about webinars. I haven't done a webinar, but I have attended several webinars lately, and almost everyone I think I know has attended a webinar. So today I'm sharing with you what I have researched about webinars and how to conduct them and how to conduct them effectively as part of our video marketing series. So there's so much information out there, but I'm going to squeeze in the basic ones and the ones that I have researched here in this video. So let's get on with it. What is a webinar? The word webinar is the combination of web and seminar, which means it's an online seminar hosted on a webinar software. So if you're a business or a business person or a professional, why should you do a webinar? So here are the common uses of webinars. Like other video marketing strategies, webinar is a tool that you can use to communicate to your customers or to your target audience. You can host a webinar to discuss your current launch, your newest product, a promotion that you're offering. And webinars are really effective because then viewers can ask you questions and viewers can chat with you live while you're conducting the webinar. So it's a great tool for you to communicate to your clients even during this season where they cannot attend your product launch or they cannot go to your store if you have a physical store or office. I have been invited recently by a camera company to attend a webinar for them to show one of their newest cameras. I have missed attending that webinar though, but I am very keen to attend webinars lately because you get to see new products and then you get to learn, and a lot of the webinars lately are free to attend, so make sure you keep your eyes open because a lot of webinars are really useful. It would be good for you to attend webinars that you're interested in. Another reason why you should consider hosting a webinar is for you to position yourself as an expert. I have attended webinars about mental health, crisis management, to cash management, and I have found these webinars useful. And if you're going to host a webinar, you yourself as the host or as the presenter, you set yourself as an expert in your industry and your viewers will view you as an expert too. Because when you host a webinar, you teach a new skill, you answer questions, you share a research that you have conducted. So then you are viewed as an industry expert by your viewers. When you're in business, it's better to be first in mind than to be the best. As soon as people talk about crisis management or cash flow management, people will think about you. Oh, I have attended a webinar hosted by this person and they have shared very valuable information, and they will really think that you're an expert. They will really look up to you and will look forward to whatever you're sharing and will consider your opinion as an expert's opinion. Third reason why you should consider hosting a webinar is for you to create scarcity. Unlike YouTube videos that you can watch anytime and anywhere, webinars are hosted on a specific time period and people chat with you live. And even if in case you want to record your video, that is something that your audience will miss. The live interaction, the live chatting, the live polls. You want to create that FOMO or fear of missing out, because then your audience will miss the engagement they could have had with you if they attended the live webinar. And finally, the reason you host a webinar is for you to get leads. Unlike when you conduct Facebook Live or YouTube Live, or record or upload a video on YouTube. A webinar is more effective for you to get leads. A lot of high-value information webinars are paid, but you can conduct a free webinar that discusses like sort of an introduction to your paid webinar, and you can promote your paid webinars on a landing page, or you can even promote your free webinar on a landing page, and people will register to attend to your webinar, and voila! You get contacts. You get contact details of clients who are potential customers. So if I have convinced you to conduct a webinar, here are things that you should consider before hosting one. So before you host a webinar, you need to attend at least 2 webinars for you to get familiarized what a webinar is. And maybe you have attended a boring webinar, or maybe you have attended a high-value webinar. What has made them boring? What has made the other one exciting? And what made you stay up to date? These are the questions that you should also ask yourself before you host a webinar. The second thing you need to consider before you host a webinar is your topic. Is your topic relevant? Are you answering a question most of your audience are trying to find out the answer to? If it's your first time to conduct a webinar and you're nervous and you're not that confident, then do a webinar with co-presenters. Co-presenter or co-presenters. I have attended a webinar where there's a panel, and I attended a webinar there's just one person. So if it's your first time and you're not that confident and you think people will attend more if there's a co-presenter, you can invite important people or well-known people in your industry to co-present with you. And when you're conducting a webinar, have an assistant, someone who just answers questions or chats for you, or someone who takes care of the technical stuff for you, checking audio, checking camera, even just clicking the slides for you. Now that you have your topic and you have done your research, make sure you make it concise. A good webinar length is about an hour. So you have about 45 minutes to discuss your topic and about 15 minutes for Q&A. Longer than that, you might have audiences leaving halfway or, not finishing the webinar. So make sure that you make your information concise. You have your slides presenting all the important information. Make sure they're in bullet points. My suggestion for your audiences to stay up to the end is for you to tell them that you will have a special bonus information, or you will answer a specific question at the end of the webinar, so people will stick around and wait for that. Or maybe you're going to have a giveaway and you would want that giveaway given to one of your live attendees. So these are just strategies for the attendees to stick up to the end and finish the webinar. If you already have your topic, you already have the slides, you already have your team, make sure that you practice yourself. Practice in front of a mirror. Record your practice so you can improve on points that you see that is, you can improve on before your webinar day. Like maybe the way you speak, maybe your slides, maybe you have a typo. So it's important that you practice before you conduct the actual webinar. And before the webinar, make sure you have your tech aspects ready. Your camera. Sometimes the camera on your laptop is not good enough. Maybe you will need a better laptop camera that you can purchase, that you can connect to your laptop. Or maybe you will also need a better audio. Maybe your laptop doesn't capture good audio, so maybe you will need to use a microphone. Make sure also when you conduct the webinar, you have your laptop charger and your Wi-Fi connection is stable. You should also not have too many windows open when you're conducting a webinar, just for you to, so it will be just easier for you to switch to your slides and for you to navigate your computer effectively when you're conducting the webinar. And the next thing is for you to choose the time zone. Now choose the time zone that suits your audience. Maybe your audience most of them are parents or working moms, and now the kids are homeschooled, and most of them, they don't finish homeschooling their kids by 2 or 1:30 to be wise for you to conduct a webinar around 4. Or if school resumes and the kids are in school, then you would want to conduct your webinar while the kids are at school, or maybe you would like to conduct your webinar on Saturdays, depending on when your target audience is available. And when you have finally scheduled your webinar and you have finally done your research, it's time for you to market your webinar for you to get leads. Make sure that you share the news through your social media. Make sure you send out a newsletter inviting your target audience to attend your webinar. So you can send out email reminders after they have registered for your webinar. And during the webinar, make sure to press that record button if it's not automatically recorded, because you would want your webinar to be evergreen. It means that you want people to watch your webinar after it goes live. So you want it available for people to watch it. And after your webinar, it's very important for you to follow up with the leads to the people that attended the webinar, ask them their feedback, ask them if they have additional questions, and if they would like to know more about you or to know about your products, if they would like to attend the next webinar that you're conducting. And make sure when you're conducting webinars, also make sure that you are engaging with your attendees. As soon as they log in and there's a waiting time, make sure you engage with them, ask them questions, let them introduce themselves, and once your webinar starts, make sure you introduce yourself in a way that people will be able to relate to you better. And also, make sure that you choose a lingo that is very relatable. Even though if you're discussing about business and cash flow and management, make sure that your tone of voice is not going to be boring or monotonous. Make sure you stress out specific points that you want your attendees to remember, and make sure you make it sound interesting and that is very relatable to your audience. Well, best webinar software out there. Unfortunately, most webinar softwares are not free. Most of the webinars I have attended lately, they have hosted their webinars on Zoom webinar. You can check out the link down below. Some other webinar softwares that I would recommend is Webinar Jam, Webinar Ninja, Demio. These are webinars that I have checked out. I have not subscribed to them, but I have checked out their dashboards, and they look user-friendly. It's easy for you to navigate them, and some of them have free 14-day trial. So you can check out this webinar software if you're planning to conduct a lot of webinars in the coming days. Most of them, they have 24/7 support. Some of them has analytics, and some of them has automatic recording. So you can choose a webinar software depending on your requirements. And if you don't want to pay for a webinar software, YouTube is always free, or Facebook is always free. You can do a Facebook Live, except for these social media platforms, it's a bit tricky for you to share slides, not like webinar softwares. You can easily share slides. Check out your options. If you have a webinar software that you would like to recommend or you have been using and it's really good, please comment down below. And if you have attended a webinar that is really exciting and it's recorded and it's evergreen that you would like to recommend, I would love you to comment it down below too. And if you like this video, if you found it useful, please do hit the like button and subscribe for more videos. And I hope to see you in the next one. See you. Bye.